One day, I suddenly discovered that I could hear the thoughts of my husband, who was in a vegetative state. It's been 2 months. When can I finally get up? I'm so hungry. I want to eat hotpot, barbecue, Malatang, grilled meat, seafood, and clay pot chicken. As he spoke, he even started singing. Little bok choy, so cool in the ground. Once I have money, I lie in bed. Me, can you keep it down? You're disturbing us healthy people's rest. Wait, you can hear me? Quick, let's chat. Lin Yuan must have awakened, because I started hearing incessant chatter again. The nurse who wipes my body isn't gentle at all. It would be great to change to another one. What's my wife's name again? She's quite pretty, though. My butt suddenly itches like crazy. Someone please helps me scratch it. I'm going crazy. I was reading a book next to him, utterly annoyed by his noise, so I reached under the blanket and scratched his butt a couple of times. The noise suddenly stopped. I glanced at Lin Yuan, who was lying on the bed with his eyes closed, showing no emotion. The next second, my eardrums nearly burst. What's with this woman? Why did she suddenly touch my butt? Damn it, she must have some weird fetish, not even sparing a vegetative person. If only she could move a bit to the right, it still itches. I frowned and scratched a bit more to the right, then impatiently asked, "Can you be quiet now? You can hear my voice?" I didn't want to bother with him and turned away to continue reading. As a result, Lin Yuan became even more noisy. I'm a bit speechless. I thought he was a cold-blooded, ruthless villain. Why has he become like this? I transmigrated into a book last month. The role I transmigrated into was a tragic one, the stand-in bride for the big villain. The plot of this book is just one word: cliché. I am the illegitimate daughter of the Li family. Originally, it should have been the female lead, my half-sister from the same father, Li Mengting, who was supposed to marry Lin Yuan. Unfortunately, Li Mengting's mother didn't want her precious daughter to marry a vegetative man, so I became the one who married him. According to the original plot, after our marriage, I would foolishly mess things up every day. During that time, I even hooked up with a minor character, planning to kill Lin Yuan together and elope with his inheritance. Unfortunately, it so happened that Lin Yuan woke up, then I quickly exited from the plot. Afterwards, the plot turned into a love and hate drama between Lin Yuan and the male and female leads. Overall, it's pretty much unrelated to me. With the attitude of since I'm here, I might as well stay, I just stuck around in the story. Originally, I liked quiet, and being able to read books without the need to work overtime was like a godsend. So, I spent my days reading books in Lin Yuan's hospital room and slept at night in the big villa. I had already planned that once Lin Yuan woke up, I would explain everything clearly to him and aim for a peaceful divorce. Little did I expect that just a few days later, I would be driven mad by Lin Yuan. Initially, I thought Lin Yuan had awoken and even called the doctor. Turns out, apart from me, no one else could hear Lin Yuan's nonsense. Suddenly, I remembered something about cheats when I transmigrated. I stiffened. Could my cheat be hearing the thoughts of the big villain in a vegetative state? What use do I have for this useless cheat? Lin Yuan had been holding back for 2 months, and after discovering I could hear his thoughts, he completely let loose. Are you my partner? I remember your name was Li Mengting? Li Mengting is my half-sister. I'm her younger sister, Li Wu. Oh, I've met your sister. She talks too much. Luckily, it wasn't her who married me. I have no interest in such a scheming green tea girl. And he says she talks too much. I think he's the one who talks too much. I rolled my eyes, and before I could speak, Lin Yuan started to hum. Can you help me with another favor? His voice trembled a bit. Do you see if there's a mosquito bite on my butt? Why is it so itchy? I looked at the man lying on the bed. His skin was fair, his features were cold, and there were 2 shallow creases on his forehead, probably from constantly frowning. The favor he asked of me left me blushing. One last time. We're husband and wife? It is just looking at my butt. Lin Yuan! All right, the last time. I can't move now, but when I can, I won't even agree to let you look. Unable to listen any longer, I lifted Lin Yuan's blanket. I pulled open his hospital gown, only to find that perhaps due to lying on the hospital bed, his skin seemed even paler than usual. There's nothing here. A bit lower, you haven't reached the right spot yet. Having no choice, I pulled down a bit more. bending over to inspect closely. Just then, with a click, the door opened. I looked up just in time to make eye contact with Lin Yuan's mother, and my hand was, embarrassingly, still on her son's butt. Even with the thickest face, I couldn't bear it. Auntie? No, Mom. Lin Yuan's mother's face was redder than mine. I understand. No, she doesn't understand anything. Lin Yuan, who couldn't see, was still urgently urging on the side. Why did you stop? Hurry up. Thanks to Lin Yuan, his mom has been surprisingly nice to me ever since that day. She bought me gold necklaces, luxury bags, and occasionally wiped her tears away. It's our Lin family who has wronged you. Even more ridiculously, the chief physician came to talk to me specifically. There's a high chance of recovery for Lin Yuan's condition, and it won't affect your marital relations in the future. But for now, try to control yourself. Control? What am I supposed to control? Not to scratch the mosquito bite on his butt into a cross? With a cold face, I returned and heard the instigator ranting as soon as I pushed the door. Where did you go? I'm so bored by myself. I didn't bother with him, grabbed my bag to leave. He whimpered, Why don't you stay here tonight? The nurse's snoring is so loud it keeps me awake. You can choose to sleep by yourself. That won't do. The hospital has too much yin energy. It's quite scary being alone. My temples throbbed, really unable to hold back my curiosity. Were you always like this? Like what? Chattering nonstop like this. Lin Yuan was silent for a few seconds. I'd rather call myself a sunny and cheerful big boy. Have you seen any vegetative person with as good an attitude as mine? After speaking, he sighed. You see, I'm handsome, have a good personality, and you ended up with me as your husband. You should be happy. Well, my threshold for happiness isn't that low, but I still stayed the night. Not for Lin Yuan, but because his mother had given so much, I always felt guilty. Knowing I was staying the night, Lin Yuan actually became shy, hesitantly asking me, does this count as our wedding night? My first time. If there's anything inadequate, please be accommodating. I looked at the man lying peacefully on the bed. Did he forget that he's in a vegetative state? Lying beside Lin Yuan, I couldn't sleep at all. The current situation of the Lin family isn't good. Lin Yuan's car accident affected the company's stock price, forcing many collaborations to terminate. Many competitors took the chance to step on the Lin family, aiming to completely crush them, including the Li family. According to the original plot, after Lin Yuan was discharged from the hospital, he did two things. First, he killed me. Then he ruined the Li family. I felt uneasy, looking at the cluelessly serene Lin Yuan beside me. Is he really going to kill me? Lin Yuan might have sensed my gaze and asked, Do I look that good? Or, should I let you touch for a bit? I quickly averted my gaze. No thanks. During this period, Lin Yuan's mother's visits to the hospital became less frequent. I knew the company's situation must have worsened even without asking. Everything seemed to be proceeding exactly as in the original plot. This made me even more panicked. I took care of Lin Yuan every day, fearing that he might just decide to take me offline on a whim. But despite being extremely careful, trouble still ensued. It started when a media outlet came to the hospital for research, and a nurse accidentally revealed how I tirelessly took care of my vegetative husband. After hearing the situation, the editor-in-chief was deeply moved and immediately released an issue titled, Couple's Wedding Turns to Tragedy. Wife unswervingly cares for vegetative husband. It critically addressed the contemporary social phenomenon of quick marriages and divorces, and promoted me and Lin Yuan as a model of steadfast love. Originally, it was just a piece of social news that wouldn't have stirred much attention. It unfortunately included a photo taken covertly by someone. I was sitting by Lin Yuan's hospital bed reading a book, the sunlight casting a serene glow over us, portraying a peaceful life. Once the photo was uploaded online, it immediately sparked discussions among people. Wow, with a husband having such divine looks, I'd remain chaste for him too. This guy looks familiar. Doesn't he look a lot like the CEO of Lin Corporation, Lin Yuan? I heard he had a car accident recently. Could it be he's become a vegetative person? Wait, when did he get married? As a result, #Lin Yuan married, #Lin Yuan vegetative shot to the top of trending searches. I was completely dumbfounded when I saw these. Who's been blabbing? I even made arrangements with the hospital in advance. Lin Yuan's mother looked towards Lin Yuan, her eyes filled with worry. Ah Yuan is naturally low-key. He hates this kind of news gossip the most, especially since it's about his illness. How am I supposed to explain it to him when he wakes up? On the other side, the naturally low-key man wasn't idle either. I was on the newspapers. How's the photo? Couldn't that nurse have let you to help me put on some makeup or something? Then his tone carried a bit of pride. You see, even though I've become a vegetative person, I still have countless little fans calling me hubby. Little Wu, you should feel a bit threatened now. Give him to them. I would immediately let them have him. Although the Lin family quickly pulled strings to get rid of the trending search, the news of Lin Yuan becoming a vegetative person was already impossible to cover up. Numerous media outlets blocked the hospital entrance, requesting interviews. If this continues, the rumors will only grow more rampant. Lin Yuan's mother was deeply troubled, looking aged by a decade within just 2 months. Lin Yuan could hear the outside voices and said to me, "Let's go public with the media." Are you sure? Rather than hiding and sneaking around, better to openly speak the truth. But the spokesperson for the news will have to be you. The day before, Lin Yuan prepared a speech in the hospital room for me. He detailed the entire process of his car accident and his current treatment. Though he spoke calmly, my heart still painfully twitched. Did it hurt when that truck hit you? I don't remember. Lin Yuan pursed his lips. Actually, I only had one thought at that time. Great, now I don't have to get married. But you ended up getting married anyway. His voice tinged with a smile. Yes, thanks to the accident, I got someone even more beautiful. The press conference was in the form of live broadcasts. After I finished reading Lin Yuan's speech, I suddenly realized the chat was silent, and the reporters seemed not very interested. After hesitating for a moment, one reporter spoke up. Miss Lee, actually, everyone is more interested in your love story with Mr. Lin. Following that, the chat began to whirl wildly, everyone asking when I got together with Lin Yuan, whether it was love at first sight. Someone even asked how a vegetative person resolves personal needs, an 18-plus question. I sneakily glanced at the man lying beside me, oblivious to all this, and my face slowly turned red. We are just married due to family arrangements. We didn't know each other before, so actually there isn't much of a love foundation. This was no secret in the circle, so the reporter continued to ask. Then, after Mr. Lin was injured, did you ever think about leaving? I shook my head. After all, I'm afraid of death. Then, what is the reason for you to stay by Mr. Lin's side? I wanted to say because he's a big villain, the kind that can kill people. But still, I thought seriously for a moment. I just feel that his personality is quite lively and cheerful. The event ended, and I breathed a sigh of relief. You did well, honey. His voice made me shiver, thinking of the reporter's questions. My face started turning red again, and I stuttered. It is fine. I thought that was the end of it. Unexpectedly, the next day, #Liwu press conference unexpectedly topped the trending searches again. I was a bit nervous. Did I say something wrong in the interview yesterday? Sincere attitude, generous behavior, especially your declaration of love moved even me. Fans have no reason to trouble you. I gathered the courage to click into the topic, and right in front, I saw a trending tweet. Liwu, my husband isn't a great demon king. He will forever be a sunny boy in my heart. What is this? In the comments, people were also crazy. Lively and cheerful? Although I quite like Lin Yuan, are you sure Liwu is talking about him? Help! Liwu, blink your eyes if you're kidnapped. The person you are talking about is Lin Yuan. Am I the only one who thinks the setting of a vegetative cold CEO ex delicate flower of the wealthy is a good ship? I agree with the comment above. My first reaction was also this. Then the thread started to deviate. Everyone discussing the ship of me and Lin Yuan. Even under this wave, someone started the Wu Yuan realm topic. At night, Lin Yuan couldn't sleep, forcing me to read the fanfiction written by shippers under this topic to him. Liwu, lonely for 3 months, walked into the hospital bed under the moonlight, pounced on the quietly sleeping CEO. She just couldn't hold back anymore. Liwu lifted the blanket and pounced on Lin Yuan. I suddenly paused. Lin Yuan urged, "Then what? What did Liwu do next?" Then Liwu lifted the blanket and fiercely scratched a cross on Lin Yuan's butt. Blushing, I turned off the phone. Close your eyes. Sleep. Lin Yuan knew it definitely wasn't written like that. He huffed. Wait till I wake up. I'll read it myself. I have to say, the effect of the press conference was unexpectedly good, even unexpectedly boosting Lin Corporation's stock price. Many shippers began to buy Lin Corporation's products to support my love story with the vegetative cold CEO. Buying a few of Lin's products, helping Li Wu pin down the vegetative cold CEO sooner. If you all don't buy, how can our Lin Yuan continue to be a cold CEO? If Lin Yuan can't be a cold CEO, how can I enjoy wife-chasing literature? People also started reviewing products made by Lin Corporation. I've always bought Lin's products. To be honest, the quality beats many foreign brands. More and more people started paying attention to Lin Corporation, allowing the company to miraculously survive the crisis. But while some were happy, others were worried. Lin Corporation's Back to Life Act made the Li family restless. A few days later, Li Mengting found me. Ah Wu, I just heard about your marriage. I've wronged you. I got goosebumps from her fake sisterly affection, handing her a tissue. Why are you here? I'm here to help you. Li Mengting sniffled and began explaining. The family insisted on marrying Lin Yuan. I ran off to the US in anger, but I didn't expect they would make you marry him. Anyway, I heard the news and came back. Ah Wu, I've always treated you as my real sister. Rest assured, I will not let you marry people like Lin Yuan. I've already talked to Dad. He agreed to let you divorce Lin Yuan. Before I could speak, Lin Yuan interjected with a tsk. Does she think we're fools? The reason Lin Corporation was able to recover was entirely because people led the shipping trend. Now she's instigating you to divorce? Isn't that just blatantly trying to crash Lin Corporation? I knew this logic as well, so I shook my head. No need, I'm doing quite well now. Don't lie to me. Li Mengting grabbed my hand, her tone urgent. I know you're threatened by the Lin family. That's why you said those things online. Ah Wu, trust me, Lin Yuan is not a good person. Hey, just speak your mind. Why go attacking others? Lin Yuan was not pleased, muttering to me, This Li Mengting is ugly enough, and her heart is even less kind. If this were a fairy tale, wouldn't she be Snow White's stepmother? I was so annoyed. Can you shut up? Li Mengting was startled by my shout, her eyes turning red again. Ah Wu, you don't believe me? It's not you. Never mind, you can continue. Li Mengting probably felt she said something bad about Lin Yuan, which I didn't like to hear. To strengthen her persuasion, she exhaled. Since it's like this, I won't hide it from you. She cautiously looked around, making sure no one was listening before speaking. Lin Yuan is violent. He started setting dogs on servants at age 6, crippling their legs. That person has been wheelchair-bound since. In high school, he burned a classmate's arm with a cigarette, forcing the person to drop out. From childhood to adulthood, he's been known in the circle as a tyrant. I looked at Lin Yuan. None of these things seemed like something he would do. Sure enough, Lin Yuan scoffed. Our family was supporting employment for the disabled back then. The dog feeder was already disabled even before he came to our house. The high school incident was someone showing off a tattoo, then got caught by the homeroom teacher and lied that it was a cigarette burn. She has such a vivid imagination. Why doesn't she write novels? She'd definitely earn more than now. And one more thing. Do you know how his father died? Seeing me shake my head, Li Mengting lowered her voice. He wanted to inherit the family business, so he poisoned his dad to death. Then Lin Yuan went crazy. Honey, let her wait. I'll call my dad out of his coffin right now to take her away. After Li Mengting left, Lin Yuan was still in bed, too angry to speak. Seeing me reading as if nothing happened, he wasn't pleased. Seeing someone slander me like that, and you're not angry? What kind of wife are you? I thought about it. Li Mengting should be your wife. If you dislike me, I can help you bring her back. So you mean you want to dump me? Is that what I meant? Lin Yuan seemed like a husband who caught his wife cheating, his voice loud and exaggerated. Li Wu, are you trying to shirk your responsibility? I was dumbfounded by his question. What responsibility? Don't vegetative people have rights? You look at a vegetative person's butt and think you can shirk responsibility? Can't this matter be dropped already? After that day, Li Mengting didn't appear again, but I always felt that the matter wasn't over. Sure enough, A few days later, I was blocked by a strange man on my way. Wu? Do I know you? Are you still angry at me? The man looked somewhat dejected. Actually, I didn't take you away before the wedding because I was threatened by your father. You know my family situation. I couldn't risk my mother's safety. This made me somewhat remember the original plot. I tried hard to recall. Are you Zhang Mingshuo? You finally have the will to talk to me. All right, the big scumbag who encouraged me to elope and then caused my tragic death has also appeared. By now, Lin Yuan had been in bed for 4 months, according to the timeline. It was almost time for him to wake up. I didn't want to complicate matters at this juncture. I took a step back. Sorry, but I'm married now. Don't come looking for me in the future. I thought my rejection was clear, but Zhang Mingshuo started appearing frequently around the hospital, trying to reconcile with me. Your sister told me, you're not happy now. One day, Zhang Mingshuo followed me all the way to the top floor ward. He rushed in. Your father has agreed to let us be together now. Our biggest obstacle is gone. Wu, I don't believe you've forgotten me so quickly. As he spoke, he actually embraced me. I'm willing to take you away, to a city where no one knows us. We can start over. Do you hurt your brain or something? I was about to push him away when I suddenly heard Lin Yuan's voice. So intimate even in the hospital. You two really have the mood. Zhang Mingshuo pushed me away harshly. I sensed something was wrong and turned around, only to see the man who had been lying on the bed sitting up. Why not continue? Did I wake up at a bad time, disturbing you two? So this is Lin Yuan himself speaking? My heart raced. I directly rushed to his bedside. You're awake? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Lin Yuan coldly created distance between us. Don't bother, Miss Li. You might as well first settle your private matters, then come talk to me about divorce matters. Lin Yuan woke up. My cheat disappeared along with it. He doesn't remember anything from his vegetative state. That period seemed like it was all my imagination. At this moment, doctors gathered in the room, conducting various checks on Lin Yuan. All body functions are fine. Congratulations, Mr. Lin. You can be discharged soon. The doctor breathed a sigh of relief, smiling. Also, congratulations, Miss Li. You finally ended the endurance period. Lin Yuan frowned at these words. What endurance period? The doctor probably thought we had a very good relationship and spoke without any reservations. While you were sleeping, your wife pulled your pants down. I told her not to rush, just to wait a bit longer. Hearing this, I was completely embarrassed. This doctor's mouth is so loose. Hastily explaining, it's not what you think. Lin Yuan glanced at me. Ms. Li's hobbies really are diverse. Lin Yuan's first task upon waking up was to call the company's assistant to the hospital to inquire about the company's status. Thanks to the lady, everything in the company is running smoothly. My mom? No, your wife. The assistant handed over the phone, playing the video of the press conference that day. After watching, Lin Yuan's hands trembled. Looking at me with eyes full of anger, who allowed you to hold such a press conference, spouting such nonsense? I really hadn't said anything. Hearing this, I also got a bit upset. In the situation where the injury news had already been leaked, do you think I shouldn't have held this press conference? Lin Yuan opened his mouth but didn't speak. Then I asked him again. In the press conference, do you think there was a problem with the description of events in my speech? Or in the subsequent questions from reporters, was there a problem with the depiction of your personality? Lin Yuan still didn't speak. I raised an eyebrow. Since there's no problem, then what's your problem now? Lin Yuan was probably rebutted for the first time, stunned for a long while before he hummed, sharp-tongued. I also learned from him and hummed coldly, ungrateful. Not wanting to stay in the same room with him any longer, I planned to leave first. Just before leaving, I remembered something. I pulled out a stack of papers from my bag. Here, this is for you. It was originally intended to coax you to sleep at night, but now that you're awake, just read it yourself. What's this? I opened the first page and pointed to the title. Report to the lady. The president has become a vegetative person again. Watching Lin Yuan's face suddenly stiffen, I lightly hummed, "May it not kill you." Not sure if it was stimulated by the fan fiction, but for several days, I didn't see Lin Yuan. When we met again, it was a week later. He stormed towards me, furious. Is this your cunning plan? Looking at the CEO, who was always angry after waking up, I was somewhat speechless. What cunning plan? He threw a stack of photos in front of me. I picked them up and glanced and couldn't help but frown. They were all of me and Zhang Mingshuo. There were photos of our first encounter outside the hospital, of Zhang Mingshuo lingering around the hospital, and even one where he forcibly hugged me. However, the photos were taken from very tricky angles, even creating a somewhat sweet atmosphere. Now I finally understood Li Mengting and their thoughts. If divorce didn't work, they deliberately used Zhang Mingshuo to forge the illusion of my infidelity, destroying the heat brought by the previous shipping hype. I still vividly remember how the original villain died. Now looking at Lin Yuan's gloomy expression, I was also a bit panicked. The photos are fake. I'm harassed by you every day. Where do I have the time to meet men privately? Harassed by me? I suddenly shut up. Lin Yuan scoffed. Now you don't even put your heart into lying. You think I can't do anything about you. I really couldn't stand Lin Yuan's sarcastic attitude every day. Lin Yuan, are you a hypocrite? You don't think this way at all. Why do you have to say such hurtful words? After the newspaper, you were clearly very happy. You followed those fanfiction's updates more diligently than anyone. Zhang Mingshuo appears and you're simply jealous and you don't want to divorce me at all. Why do you have to pretend like this? It's really annoying. Liwu, who told you all this crap? You told me. You talk crap to me every day. I glared at him. Believe it or not. After saying that, I also left. Lin Yuan stood still for a moment. Seeing that I really didn't intend to turn back, he also got angry. What did I say? Why are you still angry? Putting aside everything else, isn't it normal for a husband to want an explanation after seeing his wife in such intimate photos with another man? I couldn't bother with him. When you fix your attitude as a husband, then only come and talk to me. Although I had a fight with Lin Yuan, we both knew that once the photos were leaked, it would stir up a huge storm online. The public is the easiest group to incite. Some people simply don't care about the truth. They only believe what they want to know. Recently, Lin Yuan has been out early and returning late, busily dealing with various matters. I wasn't idle either. I hired someone to help investigate Zhang Mingshuo's personal information, and indeed got results a few days later. The person hired by me hacked into Zhang Mingshuo's computer and got his financial records. A half-month ago, Li Mengting transferred $1 million to Zhang Mingshuo's personal account, and shortly after, he began tracking your movements. I also put the hospital's surveillance footage into a USB, which can prove you didn't entertain Zhang Mingshuo's harassment. Lin Yuan didn't come home until very late. I want to talk to you about Zhang Mingshuo. I followed him into the study, taking out the materials I had. Here is the surveillance video of Zhang Mingshuo following me and the transfer records from Li's family. Can this prove my innocence? I waited a long time without any response from Lin Yuan. Looking up, he was staring straight at me, his gaze somewhat scattered. I leaned over to smell. Did you drink? Lin Yuan bent his thumb and forefinger. Just a little bit? He was indeed drunk. I put away the materials on the table. Rest early. I'll find you tomorrow. After saying that, I turned to leave, but Lin Yuan stood up and grabbed me. You're so fierce. His eyes looked watery, looking wronged. Why are you angry every day? Every day it's you who's angry, Mr. Lin Unhappy. Obviously, he couldn't understand my explanation. You took photos with other men. That's fake. You let him hug you. I pushed him away. I don't care. You're my wife. I haven't even hugged you yet. Why does he get to first? After saying that, Lin Yuan leaned in and hugged me tightly, then rubbed his face against my cheek, contentedly sighing, "Smells good." The drunk Lin Yuan was clearly more honest. He hugged a pillow and followed me into the bedroom, insisting on sleeping with me. No way. I kicked the man who was unapologetically occupying half of my down. We're a married couple. Why can't I sleep with you? You'll regret it tomorrow. I won't. In the end, I couldn't kick him out because I was very curious to see Lin Yuan's expression when he sobered up. It must be interesting. The next day, sure enough, I wasn't disappointed. Lin Yuan opened his eyes looking like the sky had fallen. What's this? I propped my head up in a very good mood. Climbing into bed in the middle of the night was Mr. Lin's idea. You're asking me what's going on. I am the one who want to ask you. Sighing. It turns out what they say online is true. Men can't be trusted. Who would have thought the CEO who looks so proper during the day would do such sneaky things at night? Lin Yuan's face gradually stiffened. It was an accident. Classic trash man line. I understand. Today I'll have a locksmith change my room's lock. So you don't blame me for coming in through the door. When Lin Yuan left, his face was so gloomy it could drip water. My heart, which had been stifled for half a month, finally cleared up. However, there was also a downside. After that day, I became like a ferocious beast. Lin Yuan dodged whenever he saw me. I tried several times to talk to him about the investigation, but he coldly blocked me each time. Even Lin Yuan's mother noticed something was wrong and came to ask me, "Did you have a fight with Yuan?" I hesitated for a moment before asking, "Mom, have you ever felt that Lin Yuan's personality seems a bit weird? Sometimes he's quite lively, but sometimes he's very gloomy. His mood changes unpredictably." Lin Yuan's mother was silent for a long time, finally speaking. Actually, Yuan had an older brother. I was startled. I didn't know about this. The book didn't mention much about the villain's family situation. I only knew Lin Yuan came from a wealthy family. And after his father died of illness, he took over the family business and became a young talent. When Yuan was a child, his temperament wasn't like this. He was lively and active, climbing trees all day, mischievous and naughty. Yuan's older brother was steadier. Originally, his father and I planned for his brother to take over the company, allowing Yuan to grow up according to his nature. But unexpectedly, Lin Yuan's brother died when Lin Yuan was 8 years old. That year, we took them out to play. Suddenly, there was a storm. Yuan was swimming in the sea at the time. His brother was swept away while trying to save him. Since then, Yuan completely changed. Out of guilt, he forced himself to grow up overnight. Gradually, he became just like his brother. So the thoughts I heard, were they the real Lin Yuan? Lin Yuan's mother's eyes were a bit moist. She held my hand. At that time, we were all immersed in the grief of losing our eldest son. We didn't notice Yuan was not right. By the time we realized, it was too late. Wu, I can feel you're different in Yuan's heart. If you also have some feelings for my son, could you please help him? Lin Yuan's mother's words made me think for a long time. Do I have feelings for Lin Yuan? At first, I thought I didn't. Getting close to Lin Yuan was completely arranged by the plot. Pleasing Lin Yuan was entirely for self-preservation. But when did it change? Maybe it was when Lin Yuan stuck with me chatting. Or maybe it was when he said, "Thank you, honey," to me. During this period, Lin Yuan turned into another persona, but I always uncontrollably remembered Lin Yuan from that time. Thinking if that Lin Yuan woke up, would he act coquettishly towards me? Would he stick with me to accompany him? Until that night, Lin Yuan was drunk. He hugged me tightly and said he really missed me. My long-suspended heart finally landed. Actually, I wanted to tell him too. I missed him too. Does this emotion count as likeness? That night, I specifically waited until very late. Only after Lin Yuan came home did I bring my pillow and run to his bedroom. What is it? Nothing. Just came to sleep with you. Don't overstep. I curved my eyes slightly. I prefer to call this as returning the favor. Lin Yuan's lips curled with a hint of scorn. Li Wu, don't you know your place? You're just a stand-in bride. We'll separate once the public opinion dies down. So you mean you want Li Mengting to accompany you? I realized, pulling out my phone. Then I'll call her right now for you. As I really started dialing, "Sister, it's Li Wu." Lin Yuan said. Before I finished speaking, Lin Yuan pounced over and snatched my phone away. Looking at my dark screen, he realized he had been tricked. I took the opportunity to wrap my arms around Lin Yuan's waist, blinking, the doctor was right. Then I lowered my voice. You really have recovered very well. At that moment, Lin Yuan's face turned red, and he didn't speak for a long while. He stiffly walked to the bathroom, forcefully closing the door. I laughed out loud. At that moment, I finally confirmed, I like him. I really fell for Lin Yuan. Having clarified my feelings, I didn't hold back anymore, running to find him to sleep almost every other night. At first, he held back, pretending to kick me out. Later, he just laid flat, letting me do whatever I wanted. One night, I felt unwell and lay in my own bedroom, not wanting to move. Unexpectedly, Lin Yuan came over on his own that night, looking at me with furrowed brows. "Li Wu, are you best at giving up halfway?" His words were inexplicably strange. I took a moment to realize what Lin Yuan was hinting at. It's that time of the month. I'm not feeling well, so I'm taking a day off. The sound of the bedroom door being shut startled me. I felt a bit sad inside. We're technically bed partners. Why is he being so harsh? But after a few minutes, the door opened again. Lin Yuan walked in expressionlessly, holding a cutesy pink thermos in his hand. Brown sugar water. He put it down stiffly on the bedside table. "My mom asked me to give it to you." "Oh, then thank you, Mom." Lin Yuan stood there for a moment, watching me, then pursed his lips and left. Until midnight, while I was lying in bed watching a show, the door opened again. Looking, it was still Lin Yuan. When you're not feeling well, you can't stay up late. I was finally annoyed, couldn't help but retort, "Is this also what your mom said?" Lin Yuan didn't reply. He just came over, snatched my iPad away, bent down and picked me up with the blanket, all the way back to his bedroom, then placed me on the usual side I slept on, expressionlessly stating, "Close your eyes and sleep." This sounded so familiar. Isn't this what I used to say when I coaxed him to sleep? I have to say, my sleeping strategy did have an effect. I clearly felt a change in Lin Yuan's attitude towards me. Although he wasn't as talkative as during his vegetative state, he at least acted like a normal person now. Just as life was getting smoother, the photos of me and Zhang Mingshuo were finally leaked, and Li Mingting added fuel to the fire. She preempted me in accepting a media interview. Crying in front of the camera, she said tearfully, "This is all my fault. I wronged Ah Wu. She married Lin Yuan as a stand-in for me. If I hadn't run away from the wedding, she wouldn't have separated from the person she liked, nor would she have married Lin Yuan. If you want to scold someone, scold me. Don't scold my sister." The public exploded. Stand-in bride? Is this something happening in the 21st century? The wealthy circles are too messy. This marketing strategy is so disgusting. They can form a CP just like this, making money from the public and then each going their separate ways? For a moment, I don't know who to pity. I might as well pity myself. The money I spent on shipping is now my tears. Subsequently, #WuyuanRealmBE and #LiWu Stand-in Bride topped the trending searches. Even #Li Mingting was also dragged onto the list. Thus, I completely blew up. The internet was full of abuse towards me. An illegitimate daughter is just an illegitimate daughter. I always felt Li Mingting was graceful, not the same as Li Wu. I have a bit of conspiracy theory. Li Wu's stand-in act might be self-directed, just to marry into a wealthy family. She played her cards pretty well, married a vegetative husband, took the money, won fame, and it didn't hinder her from being intimate with her own lover, but she didn't expect the husband to wake up. Lin Yuan came over and took my phone away. "Stop looking. I'm fine. Just find it interesting. I'm just an ordinary person. How do I deserve to be ridiculed by the entire internet? It's my fault for not handling it well." Lin Yuan sat beside me. "I'll help prepare a clarification draft, sort out all the timelines. If necessary, we'll hold another press conference." "Will you prepare the speech?" "Yes." I thought about it and shook my head. "Better not. I don't want to face the camera anymore." Lin Yuan was silent for a moment. "Don't worry, this time your husband will be the spokesperson for the news." I didn't realize anything strange at the moment. A few minutes later, I went over the conversation again, then realized, "Lin Yuan, did you remember something?" "Remember what?" Lin Yuan didn't lift his eyes, still looking at the computer. "The thing about scratching crosses?" He did remember. I was both shocked and delighted, standing up. "When did you remember?" Lin Yuan finally stopped working, his eyes carrying a bit of helplessness. "After that time, I was drunk. So it had been that long. Then why didn't you tell me, and even waited for me to come to sleep with you every day?" He looked embarrassed. "I also went to find you." I grinded my teeth, unilaterally deciding to give him the cold shoulder. Lin Yuan pulled me onto his lap. "I'm sorry, honey." He lowered his voice. "Your husband needs some face too." I thought about those times, couldn't help but laugh again. Snorted, "The things you did, they were indeed quite shameless. The evidence was all sorted according to the timeline and posted online. It hammered Li Mengting so hard she almost had no room to fight back. After discussing, Lin Yuan and I jointly held an online press conference to explain the incident to the public. A reporter asked, "Is the stand-in marriage true?" Lin Yuan didn't dodge. Yes. His voice was cool. The marriage arrangement with the Li family was decided by our parents, but I had no affection for Ms. Li Mengting, so I intended to refuse. But before it was resolved, an accident occurred. My mother, out of love for me, wanted to use the good news to offset the bad, so she negotiated with the Li family to advance the wedding. Of course, the Li family didn't want to marry their daughter to a vegetative person, so they had my current wife, Li Wu, marry me instead. Lin Yuan smiled. I am very grateful to my parents-in-law for making this decision, allowing me to find the person I truly love. What do you like about your wife? Lin Yuan pondered for a moment before saying word by word, kind-hearted, intelligent, clever. Every word seemed to contain countless stories. The reporter was moved by Lin Yuan's gaze and stunned for a few seconds, then asked me, Miss Li, we've asked you the same question before. I'm very curious now that Mr. Sao Lin has awakened. Has your answer changed? I smiled and shook my head. No, the Lin Yuan I like is always the lively and cheerful one. With the truth out, the Li family was criticized on the trending searches again. Later, someone followed up and even uncovered an economic dispute that involved the Li's father in a lawsuit. Lin Yuan's deliberate suppression in the early stages, combined with the later change in public opinion, led to the downfall of Li family's business. I couldn't help but feel a bit melancholy. The protagonist was supposed to be Li Mengting. How did it turn out like this? Is this the victory of the big villain? At this moment, I belatedly realized a problem. Li Mengting is the female lead, but who is the male lead? Why do I feel like I have no impression at all? Li Mengting is getting married. One day, Lin Yuan came home with a blockbuster news. Who is it? The boss of Zhou Sheng Enterprises. Zhou Sheng Group? Sounds like a big company. I guessed it should be the male lead appearing, so I asked another question. So he must be quite handsome, right? After all, he's the male lead. Lin Yuan opened his phone, showing someone's WeChat moments. This one. I stared at the person who was definitely over 60, balding and with a big belly. You got it wrong. He's an old man. The Li family situation is not optimistic. Having an old man agree to marry her at this time is not bad. I wasn't convinced. Does he have a son, the handsome kind? After all, the trend of young stepmother literature is also quite popular nowadays. Lin Yuan's face darkened. Now even a vegetative husband can't satisfy you. You're starting to eye other people's sons' butts? I didn't mean that, I'm being serious. Before I could finish speaking, Lin Yuan pounced on me. Hours later, Lin Yuan finally let me go. Have you seen enough now? Still thinking about others? I wasn't thinking at all. Annoyed, I rolled my eyes. Lin Yuan leaned in. Honey, there's something I've always been quite curious about. The first time I asked you to look at my butt, how did you feel? I recalled for a moment. My lips involuntarily curled up. It is white. It is really white. Like a big white steamed bun.